to the Socialite series, where we celebrate and promote women who influence the world. We do this each and every week to bring you information, inspiration, and motivation from socialites who have something to say. I'm your host, Monica Karst. Now let's get this party started. Hey, happy people. It's that time, the time where we get to celebrate amazing women on a Tuesday. You've tuned in to the Socialite series, and if it's your first time, welcome here. If you're coming back, thank you for being here and joining us. A special shout out to loyal fan Jacob, because I know you're listening. Thanks for the love. I'm Monica Karst, and I'm your host coming to you live from Santa Cruz, California, today with episode number 18, Tools to Bring Your Body and Emotions into Balance, with our guest host, Willow Brown of Yin Wellness. Before I bring Willow on, I want to remind you can always join us in the conversation by dialing 248-629-0921. Call in and ask questions or join us. Again, it's 248-629-0921. This is live radio. People, you never know what you're going to get, so tune in. Special thanks to our sponsor, Elise Mahoney, who just recently opened Me, a boutique that carries high-quality fashion for women. That's Me, M-M-E, located at 910B SoCal Avenue in Santa Cruz, or you can visit her online at mme.ltd. On to our very special, talented, skilled host, Willow Brown. She's an amazing woman with a long list of skills that include yoga, Pilates, body work like pain relief, spinal, joint, and cranial issues. And if that's not enough, Willow is a trained and certified doula, which is a labor and delivery coach. So Willow, let's bring you out here. Welcome to the show, and let's celebrate you. Good morning.
Oh, thanks, Monica. It's so wonderful to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thank you for being here. It's always a delight to have your presence. So this list, crazy. It all has to do with body. It all has to do with spirit. So it matches. But what is your favorite practice with the body? Labor and delivery to me sounds so amazing, and I would think that would be a big piece of it. But what's your favorite piece in your practice?
Yeah, I really love teaching. I started out teaching yoga, and then I went through all these other trainings and certifications over the years, and now I teach something a little different. I teach my yoga and qigong practice more in the vein of Taoism and sensuality. So tuning into all of your incredible senses, your 5 amazing, fabulous senses, and really turning them on through your practice of yoga or qigong. And for those of you who aren't familiar with qigong, it's similar to Tai Chi, so it's kind of like a moving meditation. So now I sort of get to blend everything together. Having studied Chinese medicine and gotten my master's in that, I get to bring in a lot of the Taoist philosophies and principles that just make the world make a lot more sense. So I think just coming back to teaching is really my biggest passion.
And where are you teaching right now?
Currently, I just teach retreats and workshops. So
retreats and
there
workshops.
are no weekly classes, yeah. But we'll see. Maybe down the line we'll get some more weekly classes going.
Oh, that would be fabulous. Now, you just got back a week ago from Indonesia. That's for a month. Yeah. You were there for a month. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you do when you go there, and what's your journey? Why do you go to Indonesia?
So I love Asia. I love going to Asia. It's just a really, it's a different way. People in Asia just have a different mentality, a different way of seeing the world. And so I like to immerse myself in that sort of philosophy or perspective of the world. And so when I go to Asia, I do retreats at a resort. So I go to a specific resort called the Aman Resort. And I get to go and I get to teach. Sometimes I just do privates and one-on-ones, and sometimes I teach groups. So it just depends on what the moment is calling for when I'm over there. yeah, it's an incredible opportunity for me. It almost feels like a personal retreat for me when I go, because teaching just feels very effortless for me. So I get so much out of teaching. I always say teaching is my best teacher. I've never had a better teacher than just standing up in front of people and offering what I've learned and the wisdom that, how it comes from you based on where you've been and what you've been through is just so unique to each and every teacher. And so it's really such an offering and a gift that all of us teachers get to give.
Oh, and it goes right in line with, the saying, teaching is the best way to learn.
Yeah. It's so true.
Absolutely. So because you clearly have a spiritual and intuitive touch by being able to do body work and spirituality, and taking it on even more so to now doing sexuality. I don't want to talk too much about sex and sexuality because, believe it or not, I'm burnt out. The last about 5 shows we've done have all turned into sex. So without going too much, so can you believe it? I'm actually burnt out on talking about sex. It's no longer exciting. So, but sexuality, let's talk a little bit about what you offer in your classes on sexuality.
So I teach through the lens of Taoist sexology, and the way that I teach is in alignment with the moon cycle. So a lot of what I offer my students and my clients is how to live their lives according to the ebb and flow of the lunar cycle. So for example, there are 4 phases in the moon cycle, and there are 4 phases there are 4 weeks in each month. So each week we have sort of a rising and a falling, this ebb and flow that we go through. And if we can align our lives, our calendars, our social calendars to the times that we're going to be more inward and want more quiet time and home space, and to the times when we're going to want to be more creative and out and about, then we're just living more efficiently and not wasting a lot of energy and chi and vitality. So it's sort of a longevity practice. It's a way to keep your vital energy moving with what's happening on a more natural basis. So looking at nature, Taoism basically looks at what nature does and mimics that. And so understanding that we are not just part of nature as human beings, but we actually are nature. And so we've got this rise and fall and ebb and flow that moves through us all the time as well. And so just really understanding that. I love to teach endocrinology and teach women how their estrogen and progesterone levels rise and fall and what that's going to do to their moods and when they're going to want more action in the sack or when they're going to want more action out and about, just letting them know that they can align their lives to this natural rhythm.
Okay, so that's fascinating because I don't follow that, and I'd like to know more about that. Do we all have the similar? We can't all be on the same type of path and pattern. We all have different personalities and moods based on the moon. Is that right?
Well,
mine would be different from yours, because then none of us would go out if it was a moment of like no one wanted to be out and about. Then we would all be at home, right?
Right.
I'm just trying to figure that out, how that works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all humans, whether we're male or female, menstruating or not, we all have a moon cycle. We're all made up of water, and the moon pulls on water. So we all have a rhythm. We all have a moon cycle that is following the cycle of the moon. However, menstruating women have also their own internal moon cycle that's coming from their womb, that's coming from their menstrual cycle. And so, that will be different for each woman. And back in the day before electricity existed, we all were following this circadian rhythm of the moon. So the darkness, when we were in the new moon, that dark time, we would all bleed around that time. And then we'd all ovulate when the moon was bright and the energy was high and the vitality was strong. So, but now that we are looking at computer screens into the wee hours of the evening and keeping our lights on and turning them on early in the morning, everyone has a really different circadian rhythm. So both are true. We all have the same, and a lot of us have our own internal one as well. And the internal one is the stronger one. So that's really what you want to align your life to, is what's going on for you. When are you ovulating and when are you going to bleed?
Oh, fascinating. And how do we find out what our moon cycle is? How do I know what mine is?
You just watch your menstrual flow if you're a menstruating woman. And if you're not, then you just follow the cycle of the moon. So, for example, if you start, day one of your cycle is the day that you begin menstruating. So it's the day you start your period. So, for example, if you started on day 9, on the 9th day of the month, then that would be the time of your new moon. So that would be the time of like going inward. And when we're in that space, that's really when the veils between our physical and spiritual reality are the thinnest. So our intuition is really at its peak, and our dream space is really at its peak. So this is the time when we can receive messages from the other side that will guide us in our physical earthly lives.
Well, this is a good segue for next week when we bring in too Denise, who does numerology and astrology, and so kind of all blends together, body and spirit. That's pretty neat. So that would be a huge tool that brings us onto topic as far as bringing our body and emotions into balance. That's a huge key piece. And you talk about the 5 senses. Go into the 5 senses and how we can you give us a little love on how we nurture those?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, really just when you wake up every morning, it's a good idea to, I call it sensualize your senses, which just means to vitalize or pay attention to your 5 senses. So take a few moments to just tune into your auditory sense and simply listen and just be present with what you're hearing. Our senses are really a bridge between our physical and spiritual self. So it really allows us to access the present moment. It's kind of like the senses are like they're the bridge. So you can tune into them and really listen to them in order to access the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, of course, you can get a lot more out of it and you don't feel exhausted and overwhelmed. Because we always have exactly what we need in each moment. So I like to start with auditory. Just for me, that's the strongest sense. And everybody has a different primary sense. So it's good to just tune in. What is your primary sense? And then you can tune into that one throughout the day. So for me, auditory. But then, as I'm having tea or breakfast or whatever, I'll tune into the sense of taste and really be present with what I'm tasting and all the different flavors and textures and that kind of thing. And then I'll tune into, when I look outside, I like to try to see without labeling. So I like to just try to see color, shape, texture without calling it a tree, and just kind of see for the sake of seeing instead of what my mind automatically does of labeling things and putting them in boxes. And then, of course, we have our sense of smell. I love to use essential oils to wake up my sense of smell. So every day I'll pick from a few and just put on a few different essential oils to really get my day set up for a good start. And what else have we got? Oh, just the sensation of sensing, So as you're taking a shower, feeling the water on your skin or soap. Washing your hands is something that we all do multiple times a day, and it's a great opportunity to tune into your senses because you've got the water, the soap sliding through your fingers, and then the smell of the soap and, the feeling of the water. So it's really a good opportunity that a lot of us miss. We just wash our hands real quick and keep going.
Oh, well, I'm going to wash my hands in a whole new way today. Now, do you stay in this state all day, or do you get distracted like the rest of us? And
Of course.
how do you return back to that?
Yes, of course, I get distracted like the rest of us, and it's all just a practice, and it's something to play with and have fun with, and definitely not get hard on yourself about. But sensualizing your senses it's always available. It's always with you, so you can come back to it anytime. And I'm reminded to come back to it when I start to get stressed or overwhelmed, or maybe in a kerfuffle with another person, whether it's someone at the counter that I'm paying for or something, or my intimate partner. It's just a good time to breathe and just come back into the sound and the smell and, the moment, and just ground your nervous system, because it's so easy. We get so pulled away from what is natural and what is nature. I mean, we live in boxes, we drive around in boxes, we look at boxes all day long. And it's just a way to return to nature. And you being nature, it's you returning to that aspect of yourself.
Right, which we in our modern society get so far pulling away from. So this is good. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you have a morning routine. Can you share with us, what's your morning routine?
I don't do any one thing every day. For me, I like to change it up quite a bit. So I guess the one thing that I do in the morning is sit and drink tea, and I just experience that. A cup of tea all by itself without a lot of distraction or looking at screens or books or anything. And that really is kind of the one thing that I do each day to sort of set myself up. And of course, like putting my oils on, that kind of stuff. But on a semi-regular basis, I do my morning yoga. I love to go to different yoga classes, though, so I get a lot of my yoga that way. And then just paying attention to where my moon cycle is at. Like right now I'm approaching ovulation, so that's going to be the time of peak creativity for me. So what do I need to create? Like, what in my business needs to be created right now? So this morning, I recreated my free gift, my sensuality activation session that you can get from my website. I just recreated it because it needed some love. I just choose whatever is going on for me. And then maybe as I'm approaching my menstruation, it might be a time of more quiet and going inward. So maybe in the morning, I might just take a really relaxing walk down to the beach or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now you say you drink tea every morning. What's your favorite tea? What do you drink in the morning?
I love pu'er tea.
Pu'er tea.
Pu'er is fermented black tea, or sometimes they do green, but I love the fermented black tea. It comes from China, traditionally, the pu'er tea, and it's really like calming yet vitalizing at the same time. And I like to put a little sweet in it, like a little honey. I love a little honey and a little cream in my tea, and I think we can get really caught up, especially in California, especially in Santa Cruz, around don't eat this and don't eat that and don't have this and don't have that.
You drink milk in your tea?
Well, not milk, but yeah, like almond milk, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really like what brings you pleasure, as long as it's not causing you harm, like as long as you have some digested and balanced, if something brings you pleasure and you have it once in a while, like enjoy it, enjoy the moment of it, and don't be hard on yourself because you happen to have, whatever, a chocolate croissant that day or something.
Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, right?
In moderation. Yeah, and I'm a huge, huge proponent of eating really well and nutritional. I wrote a whole cookbook on it, but
wait, you did? Back up. What? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where do we find this?
Women's health and hormonal balancing. So there will be a website up soon. Currently, it's just through my 6-month program. But
wow, well, very exciting. You'll have to share that with us.
Yeah, I will. It'll be up on Yin Wellness through another link through a website, but you can find it for Yin Wellness.
Neat.
So that's a really powerful cookbook. Great recipes in there, and then it helps your whole endocrine system align. So for women who are trying to have a baby, who might be having difficulties with that, eating specific vegetables at specific times in your monthly flow will support that.
Now, are you available to help women one-on-one to figure out their cycle and like moon cycle and what to eat, and how do you help the rest of us? Where do we go and how do you help us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a private practice where people can come in for treatment, and that's really how I help people one-on-one and look at their diet and tweak things and add supplements and, of course, do acupuncture and craniosacral and massage. I think the treatment that I do is a combination of massage, myofascial release, craniosacral, and acupuncture. So really getting all the layers of the body from the muscular to the meridian system.
I think we're cutting. I think you just cut out.
Oh, did I cut out? Yeah, so I was just talking about treatment, and that's one way to come and see me. And then I also have a 6-month program that I walk women through so that they can really, if fertility is something that you're working on, 6 months is really what it takes to get there, because the endocrine system doesn't just change so quickly unless you are putting, something more strong into it, like pharmaceuticals. But I like to do, of course, all natural and food-based medicine and energy-based medicine. I really do believe that of all the medicine that you need, you have inside of you. So just got to tune it in and turn it on.
There you go. What do you have coming up next? Do you have a 6-month program coming up next? How do we support you? Where do we find you? What's your website and all that good stuff? So
the website is Yin Wellness. Yin, Y-I-N, like the opposite of yang, yinwellness.com. And the sister website to that is The Taoist Way. And so you can check out either one of those for more information. And I have another telesummit coming up in February. So this is where I interview 18 speakers in my field, and right now I've got some great speakers. Margot Anand is going to be speaking on Tantra. I've got Montauk Chia speaking on Taoist sexology. I've got Rhonda Nelson on functional medicine and hormones. So it's a really sort of broad base of different speakers who are talking about lots of different things, which all relate to your physical and spiritual body and how it moves through the world. And that telesummit is called The Wise Woman's Way to Love, Sex, and Vitality. And you'll probably see it all over Facebook when it starts to be.
So it's not up yet, but not up yet, but you'll be able, it's going to be in February? Is that right?
It's going to be in February, over the week of Valentine's Day. And then after that, I'll launch another program. So I'll go ahead and start filling another program we'll start running it by the end of March. So the one that I'm running now, we're getting some incredible results with the women in there. And it's really fun just to see everyone shifting and changing and growing into themselves more.
It's amazing what happens when you take care of yourself, right?
It is. It's a fun practice.
So if someone tunes into yinwellness.com, you're going to see Willow, and eventually there'll be a sign up for the telesummit. And when they sign up for the telesummit, they're going to get 17, did you say? 17 different speakers. 18 different speakers. So everybody tune into that. It's free. And it's free, right? Just making sure.
It's free.
And you get all of that information, and it's packed. I remember last year's, there's so much valuable information in there. It's like little mini nutrition, health, body classes. So be sure to sign up for that. So before we go off, and this is going to be a big question, but time consuming, but tell us a little bit of how you got into Chinese medicine. What were you attracted to, and how did you know? When did that happen?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I started doing yoga when I was 13. My grandma was my first yoga teacher. And then I started teaching yoga when I was 18, 19. I've been teaching forever, and then I was like, well, what's next? I'm just I love to learn. So, I looked into chiropractic, but I wasn't really feeling that. And so I was apprenticing with Lee Holden, actually, and I was really digging the acupuncture. So I decided to take that route and go into Chinese medicine. And yeah, I just went through that whole 5 branches program way back when, and it's been a great. I'm so glad I did it, and now getting more into functional medicine and how the body actually works and blending the two. It's really powerful. It's really it's amazing to see the changes that you can elicit in people's minds and bodies and emotions.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And now, what is one of your, going back to our topic again, it's like one of your key takeaways for us, like as far as a tool for one for body, one for emotion, for balance? Give us some type of tool to use to take upon our day.
Great. Yeah, I would love to give you just one tool for all of it. And this is a breath practice. And so right now, you can place your hands over your lower back, or you can just place your awareness over your lower back. And imagine that you have a turtle shell on your lower back. And as you inhale, you're going to push that turtle shell into your hand. And as you exhale, just let that shell fall back toward your spine. And next inhale, filling up the lower back, pushing your turtle shell toward your hand. And then exhale, letting it go. And just taking 4 or 5 turtle breaths. This is a longevity breath. It's for the adrenal glands, for the kidneys. And you can feel how it starts to really drop your nervous system to a more natural state. And I love doing the turtle breath when I'm in child's pose. So next time you're in yoga class, remember to turtle breathe when you're in child's pose. And it's really something you can do anywhere, anytime. I do it when I'm driving, when I'm standing in line at the grocery store, when I'm in yoga, when I'm in bed and I have monkey mind. That's a great place to do it.
Monkey mind, yes. Well, you almost took me away. I forgot what I was doing. Like, oh, we've got to wrap it up. That's right. But then I'll continue to do my turtle breath afterwards.
Yeah.
So Willow, thank you so much for coming on. You can find her at yinwellness.com. We'll also put you and all of your information on the Santa Cruz Socialites Facebook page so that when your telesummit comes out, everyone can jump on. And again, thank you so much for being here this morning. Thanks to...
thank you, Monica.
Of course. And thank you to Damian, who always takes care of us in the background. And thanks to you for listening. Don't be shy. Make sure to share, like, and comment on all of your social media platforms. That's how we spread the love. So that is a wrap today. This is Monica Karst reminding you every day is a day to celebrate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to the Socialite series. To find out more, visit us at santacruzsocialites.com and monicakarst.com. Until next week, be seen and be heard, and get out and shine your social light on your community.